Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to deviate from the agenda tonight because I have a proclamation to read. Whereas the state of New York celebrates Archives Week, October 8th to 14th, 2000, and whereas researching the rich history of the area can be rewarding, it can enhance one's pride in their community and make you aware of your heritage, and whereas everyone is encouraged to take time during Archives Week to look into their history and perhaps their own ancestry, therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rouses Point believes it fitting and proper to honor those who research the archives. The Board also deems it fitting that the week of recognition be set aside to salute the involved individuals in the field and encourage others to join the valuable work. Therefore be it resolved that I, George A. Rivers, Mayor of the Village of Rouses Point, do here proclaim the week of October 8th through 14th, 2000 to be Archives Week within the Village of Rouses Point. Mrs. Markinson. These are one of the young ladies that have been doing a lot of this work.
Yeah, thank you.
No. So if I could present this to you and your folks.
Thank you very much. We enjoy doing it. It's a lot of fun.
Now we'll go to the regular meeting. I'll open the meeting to comments from the public. Anyone from the public wishing to address the board may do so at this time. You'll have a chance at the end of the meeting. There being no one, I will close this section. Minutes of the previous meeting.
Move that the minutes be accepted as presented.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor vote by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Bills. Do we have any additions or deletions, Arsen?
No, we do not.
Make a motion that we accept the bills as written. I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? There's no discussion. All those in favor vote by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Correspondence.
You have a letter that's addressed to Mayor George Rivers. It's a request for water service to the Chouinier Road, engineered project number. My client, Mr. Gerald Menard, is proposing a 26-lot subdivision along Route 9B and along the Chouinier Road. It has come to our attention that the Village of Rouses Point has installed an 8-inch water line along Route 9B to a point within 300 feet of the Chouinier Road. In reviewing the options for the proposed subdivision, it appears that it would be economically viable to install water service, thus gaining 8 lots along the two roads. They have a plan attached. So we propose to connect to the water line at the terminal point on Route 9B and extend a minimum 6-inch line to the subdivision. The planning board has requested that we install a minimum of 2 fire hydrants, one at the intersection and one approximately 1,200 feet along the Chouinier Road. We hereby request your concurrence in the concept of setting up an outside users agreement with the developer and the ultimate property owners for utilizing Rouses Point water in the subdivision. We also request you forward any flow tests or analysis that we can utilize for the design of the system. This is from Thomas LeBombard, PE.
Bring that under correspondence, or under committee reports, or do you want to act on it now?
Well, the only comment I have on it is it should be an 8-inch water main instead of 6. If they ever develop out there, if we ever take it over, we might as well put it in the right size unit.
What about sewer line? If we do decide to go out there,
Well,
would it be just as feasible to go with the sewer line also?
well, I think, I'm not sure in the code, does it say if you have water and sewer available to you within 500 feet of your property, you have to accept both of them. And if it's only 300 feet, then that puts the sewer at 300, so that means it's 200 foot.
But
That's
our
the state
line
law.
ends at Laterno's, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Is that 300 feet from there to that Schweenar Road?
I'm just going by what's.
I know what you're saying. I'm just saying, I think it's more than that.
I don't know. You know, I didn't measure it because,
No.
you know, they're the ones saying it's 300 feet, so if it is, then according to the state law, they have to pick up sewer too, besides water.
Hmm.
This is also being reviewed by the county health department, so they'll be looking at these options also. And Bobby, are you interested in seeing a better spacing on the hydrants instead of 2 across 1,200 feet? That's
Well, I think requirements are every 500. You're looking at a hydrant, so you've got one right there at Laternals. So, is that, George?
Yeah,
Is that what
you're
it-
right. Maybe make a suggestion that we, Bobby, and somebody on the board sit down with Mr. Lamar, yourself, Doug,
Yeah.
discuss this. I mean, I don't have a problem of supplying them with water, but I think that if we're gonna do this, if it's gonna be done, it should be done right the first time, so that it doesn't have to go back. Because they know that they're gonna have to pay double the rates.
If we did for the water, we might just as well put the sewer up there also.
Well, we're not gonna do it.
No, but I'm saying that.
They're gonna,
Yeah.
The developer has.
the developer has to do it. I think that maybe we should schedule a meeting with these people and let this rest.
I'll be glad to set that up.
You want me there?
Yeah, water, and, water committee and Bobby. Sewer. Put them all together.
For the sewer.
Okay, I'll get back to you guys on that.
Okay. Thank you.
Is it a preferable time for you guys in the afternoon or morning or what?
We'll be here or in Plattsburgh.
Never come here. When,
I
you
can
know,
make
you're
it
a morning.
after, I can make it after 3 o'clock as long as I know
ahead
2
of-
days in advance.
Okay.
I think, we just need more information about this.
Okay?
Yes?
We have another piece of correspondence which is not on the agenda because it arrived today. And it gives me great pleasure to read this. This is from NICOM. It says, I am pleased to inform you that your Zebra Mussel Control Program project has been awarded the Pride in Public Works Award. The award will be presented at the NICOM Public Works School Annual Banquet on Wednesday, October 18, 2000, at 7:30 p.m. at the River Edge Resort Hotel, Alexandria Bay, New York. We cordially invite you or a representative to be our guest to accept the award. Please notify our office to finalize arrangements. Congratulations upon your selection.
I would like to request permission that the superintendent and myself attend that. Bobby was a big player in this. It's nice to be able to get an award for something.
Can you make any motion?
I'm asking permission.
Well, I'll make a motion that we set that, send it down to Bobby, down there, Sandy Bay.
Well, did he got a second to it?
I'll second.
Okay. Discussion and a motion made. We will be staying overnight. Not driving back from Alexandria Bay.
Better talk about that motion against that.
I told him you only had 2 drinks instead of 4.
Does that mean that Nikon's paying?
I have no idea. I have no idea. They said to call them for arrangements.
Well, I also have to call them because this does say Wednesday, October 18, 2001.
Oh, my God. That's a long-range plan.
So I will call them in the morning.
Okay. I have a motion seconded, and any other discussion? All those in favor, vote by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
I have no more.
Report of the mayor and trustees. And the first thing on my agenda is report of the municipal electric meeting. They attended the week of the 22nd of September was the last day. At that meeting was several things. One of them was that we were informed by our lawyers from Municipal Electric that we will no longer be paying that extra wheeling that they've been charging us as of August 1st, so hopefully we'll see a little reduction in the bills. I don't know what it totally will amount to, in our bills anyway. And that was the great news. On that subject, the meetings were all based around the ISOs, that's the independent system operators. These are the people that have been jacking your light bills. They play little games, and under deregulation, if you don't understand what happened, is that most of the big utilities that owned their own generation had to sell their generation. So a guy like me bought a power plant, and now I'm an independent system operator. So now I sit there and I do generation, but all of a sudden you could see a big demand coming, so I hold my generation back from the network until the price goes up. And you wait till right to the last moment till the price is at peak, and then you throw your generation in and you make a lot of money. Unfortunately, the bottom line is the consumer hurts for it. This has been a big contention, and our lawyers in municipal electric have been working, and I think they said they're going to end up with a cap on this. I don't know, it's $1,000 megawatt week or month or whatever it is. I don't just the crazy figures, but won't be able to go over that. So if they don't sell it then, they never sell it. That's the way it looks like. Anyway, that's the big, everybody was talking about the ISOs and what was going on. The next big item that came up was the relicensing of the Niagara Power Plant. Year 2000, I believe, 7. Niagara hydropower plant comes up for relicensing. And of course, the municipal electric is backing the relicensing to the Power Authority of the state of New York. And they're requesting that all the municipal electrics support this for the simple reason that Western New York is putting a big drive on not to have the Power Authority relicensed. And like Buffalo and those areas will get all that hydropower. They're pushing to get, and we would be hurting dearly. So it behooves us to support this relicensing. The other thing it does is that it gives us a marketing chip, and the Power Authority wants something from us, and they want to relicense us, so we say to them, well, 2013, our contract comes due, well, maybe we can extend that to 2025. We have a little bargaining chip, so well, this is some of the things they're looking at. And it behooves that the Power Authority does get that relicensing, and it doesn't for somebody else. Let's see, what else went on that was wild and fun. Oh, yeah, deregulation retrospect. They don't like me down at these deregulation meetings because I tell them it's no damn good. Never was and never will be. Basically, they try to sell this deregulation. They try to sell it to the public, and if anybody has any idea what's going on with deregulation of anything in this country, can you say it's been good for us? Cable, telephone, airlines, trucking industry, all deregulated. Was it good for us? I don't think so. Especially this area. So that was, they had a person there from the Public Service Commission and the Federal Energy Commission, and the deregulation director was there. And they can stand up and say it, but they'll never convince me. And with that, that's my report on that. Okay. We have a special meeting, which will be October 10th at 6 p.m. upstairs in the village office. This is on the charter for the city. When are we going to have that fall pickup? We haven't picked a date.
The week before, historically, we have it the entire week before Halloween. unless, for some reason, last year we
Okay.
moved it into November because the leaves hadn't fallen. But usually we just have it the week before, and usually
Okay,
don't
we're
set.
talking, well, we will have, at this time, we'll have the fall cleanup will be 23rd through the 27th. And of course, you gotta understand, we only pick up light brush, grass, clippings, and leaves. We can't pick up all that trash anymore, we're not licensed. I would like to say that I'm looking into the possibility, and I don't know when it will happen, or if it will happen, of having what we call a hazard material pickup. It's been about 5 years since we had one. I'm trying to work out something that maybe we can do something this fall with that, but that's in the works. Nothing definite. And that's it for me. Trustee Moore.
Okay, I have a report from the Public Works Committee. Bob Clark. Public Works working with the line crew on underground electric project. Bob Sterling is repairing the sidewalks on Lake Street. The electrical department continues the south and underground electrical project. Miscellaneous repairs to the system and repairs to streetlights. The central garage working on equipment regularly. And that's all I have to report. I think though we're going to have something on the library steps later. And would you like to say something on that now?
It's under your report. If you agree. Okay.
You want to say?
All right, sure. On the library, we have bad news and great news. The bad news is that those people that last time told us they could do the stairs with limestone, the board agreed, the library board agreed. They were elated to hear that they were selected to go ahead with the limestone steps. Then they told me that the stones would be here in about 3 or 4 months. And so I wish they would have told me that before. But anyways, what then happened was Bob Clark told me how he'd been talking with Bob Duquette from Duquette Construction that is looking at hopefully doing the senior housing project. And I spoke with them. They're interested in doing the stairs. And in fact, their subcontractor, Marcel Bebo, has given us a quote which meets our guidelines and is under the level required. And they may be able to start this week on the library stairs. So I recommend that the board pass a resolution to hire these people to do the stairs.
You want to look at this first, Stanley?
Yeah, I'll look at that first.
Okay. Well, we can come back to that. That's all right. Everybody have a chance to look at it. And that's the last thing. We can go back to that, Stanley.
Okay, that's all I have.
Yep. Thank you, Trustee Moore. Trustee Dupra.
I have on file a certificate of completion for Tom Reed. He attended and satisfactorily completed and passed a weather operations course at SUNY Agriculture and Technology at Morrisville, New York. Received 10 contact hours, which is a considerable number of contact hours for the training course. Once again, I congratulate and appreciate employees who continue to maintain their certification status and request that a copy be placed in his file. The only other item on my agenda is an update from Doug Ferris on our ongoing water projects.
And on the water projects, on the water storage tank, we were at the Town of Champlain Planning Board last Wednesday. The Planning Board was reviewing the Wyeth Ayers site for our new water storage tank. They deemed our application complete and set it for a public hearing next Tuesday, along with the same public hearing for the zoning board. So that was positive. Also, the application for the special use and the variance for that location were passed on to the county level. So this Wednesday night, we have a county planning board review. Myself and Tom Renane will be there for that to see that the county planning board approves of the tank location.
Doug,
And-
I don't know that we've had an explanation on why the county planning board is involved. Is it because of the municipal
there-
project?
No, it's because it is within, the proposed project is within 500 feet of a municipal property boundary. So,
Okay.
so it's right next to Rouses Point, and even though we're the applicant, it still meets that criteria, so it needed to be sent down to the county planning board. And let's see, the next item is that regarding the, we have two sites we're looking at for the water storage tank, the Wyatt Ayers site, and then there was our backup site. And we need to do a little risk cost benefit analysis of those two sites before we make our final decision which site we should have. And to that end, I've gone to an outfit called the Border Appraisal Service, which appraises industrial property. There's a fellow named Dave Beecher who came highly referred by Tom Renane. And this Dave Beecher currently does most of the industrial appraisals at the park, Plattsburgh Air Base Redevelopment Corporation properties. So I'd like to pass this to you. I recommend that we hire Dave Beecher to appraise the proposed property for Site B, so we can determine what a purchase price of that private land would be, and if we would want to buy it, or if we want to go ahead with the Wyatt Ayers property. I would need that number to know what we would pay for the purchase, so that I can then do some economics to present you with apples and apples for the two sites.
Okay.
Over here?
All done.
You're all finished?
Well, stayed on.
Can't be, you can't be.
Really?
Very well stayed.
I will say a few words if you want me to.
Well, we could do that. Well, that's not bad. Not bad at all.
Does John read his purchase?
This got done.
I move that the proposal presented to us by Doug Terrace regarding the appraisal on the second piece of property be approved.
I'll second.
Got a motion made, second, any discussion? There being no discussion, all in favor, vote by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Is that it, Doug?
Yes. No, it's not. Sorry. Just two other things on water. One is we'll be coming back to you for quotes on a drilling very soon to start drilling the proposed pipeline to either Site A or Site B. And also tomorrow the state is in town, their 3-person SWAT team to do the comprehensive performance evaluation. They'll be in our water plant. It's kind of like the auditors. The auditors are here for the water plant for the next 2 or 3 days.
Thank you, Doug. And that is all I have on my agenda.
Thank you, trustee Dupra. Trustee Menard.
My first item on my agenda is a discussion, New York Municipal Power Agency, the semi-annual meeting. I believe it's October 25th, 2000. And at this time, I don't believe we're going to send anyone to that meeting.
No, not that I know, Bob? No.
The second item on the agenda is I'd like to make a motion to authorize the clerk to publish legal notice for the Andrew Davis property.
Second?
I got a motion made, second, any discussion? Being no discussion, all those in favor, vote by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
And my third item is a discussion, I'd like to make a motion that we authorize the clerk to go out for quotes for the demolition of the laundry garage on Lake Street.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor, vote by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
We want them quotes back by Friday.
I think Bob and I had talked about that either Friday or Monday noon because
We have a meeting next Tuesday and we
your
can award it.
special meeting on Tuesday will have two subjects. Awarding that,
And you work on Monday?
yes, I work on that.
You don't work Monday?
You work Monday, John?
That always works, that's really.
Monday's fine.
It's Columbus Day. It was
Different bosses.
That it?
Yes.
Thank you, Dale.
Oh, no, wait a minute. I have
What?
another
Did we
thing.
approve that?
Sorry,
Did we approve it?
prove what?
I made a motion that
Oh.
we...
I thought we approved it, but anyway. Is there any other discussion on the motion? There being no discussion, all those vote by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
And-
That's all we had.
Just one last thing, with our recognition from the municipal power that I'd also like to thank Doug Ferris for all his work in the zebra mussel. Without that, without his hard work also, we wouldn't have got that award. That's true. And that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, trustee Menard.
What's that?
Before Dale, you kick him out there, he's electrical. How about, what's the chances of getting the truck for the line crew? Pickup truck.
Can we go out state bid for that?
We get state contract. The new contracts are out, the end of this, the end of this month.
I don't have a problem with it because I think they really need it. That orange julep and that other thing is.
Oh, their pickup, they need a pickup truck if they're gonna work that job. They have nothing to haul the materials up and down with George.
Yeah, I understand that. And, you know, I've seen them what they've been doing on
Yeah.
the job.
I just think that it's time to do something about it.
You got the money?
Yes, we got the money.
Yeah.
Okay, we got the
Yeah,
money.
Should have. Then the other thing was on the electrical is, you know, because everybody's doing a lot of traveling back and forth, we're renting cars. And, is there any reason that we couldn't go out and even buy a nice second-hand car to travel with? I mean, we don't need a brand new one, but we could pick up a real nice car that we could use, you know, amongst the whole bunch to get in and out of here. You could, like Tim going to school, we're renting cars, Tommy going to school, you know, he had to take his own car. I mean, we don't have nothing to travel with. And I think that you ought to look into at least a good second-hand vehicle. You're not talking big money.
I don't have a problem with that, I'd like to see a cost analysis at all. And I know Arson can do that for us.
When you say cost analysis,
The cost-
do we have the money or find out what a used car is worth?
Find out
Find out
what
what-
the advantage is to owning a vehicle as opposed to leasing the vehicle. I think Arson,
Insurance and
he
everything.
can probably go back into, let's say the last year and tell us how much we've spent on renting a vehicle as opposed to
Plus mileage.
what owning a vehicle would.
What we paid out for people to use their own vehicles, rent the vehicles.
I think you're gonna find it's gonna
Yeah, I
surprise
think
you,
we're gonna save money if we
really.
can buy a used one.
Well, the other thing, I have some comments on that, and I'm not against, don't understand, but I'll tell you what. If that car is bought for that purpose, that's the purpose it will be used for, not for meter readings and not for hauling equipment in it.
I didn't really agree.
Because you go to a meeting, you go to a conference, it's like, you know, going to municipal electric, instead of paying me mileage, using a car, but I'm not gonna go in my dungarees because the car is so dirty. And it's the same thing with anybody else sitting on this board, or anybody else sitting out there that's going to a meeting or stuff. The car should be set aside for purposes bought for. And with that, by next meeting, we should have been able to have an answer for that. How many more times Timmy got to go to school this year? I think this is the last time
This is last week.
yeah, the last week this year, but he starts again next
Spring.
year, in the spring, yeah.
It starts in the spring, plus you got all your stuff for your sewer plant operators, your water plant operators, the police department. I mean,
Municipal electric,
Yeah, municipal
conference of
electric,
mayors, it
Yeah.
goes on,
That
you know.
public works school.
Public
public
works
works
school.
school. I mean, it's just, you know,
Do we need a motion on that?
No, I think we'll wait till next week, next
If
month,
possible.
or next week's, next meeting.
it's just, you know, it just got it out, we can look at it and find out if it's feasible.
Right.
It is, then it's okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's it?
That's it.
Trustee Huckrow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You should have in front of you a copy of the work completed at the wastewater plant from Tom. I don't think he's sitting around a lot. No, there. And also, Doug, would you have an update on the ceiling and also the south end plant? What's anything moving on that?
Yeah, there's nothing new to report on the ceiling, we're just waiting for the bid package together. The south end storm sewer, or south end pump station, the next item on that is we'll be coming to you to request going out for bid for drilling so that we can do the drilling along the proposed route of the south end pump station line. So that's the next step.
Thank you, Doug. Any comments on that? Anybody?
No.
I had a chance to look briefly at the site plan for the senior citizen housing with Deb the other day, and it appears to be in order. The only thing we have to do now is test some of the shale and see if we've got oil under there before we go ahead.
Cool.
That would be nice.
It looks fine, doesn't it? Doug, you've seen it.
Yeah,
And it looks
Bobby and
fine.
I have surveyed it,
And
and
so
I
on.
think it's going to work out very well.
So I'd like to move that we move ahead on accepting the plan
For our end of it,
for our residents.
Second.
I have a motion made and second. Any discussion? I think everybody must be aware that we're going to put the water and sewer into there. But we have also electric, but the electric, you know, it's not that much of a deal. It's not that many feet of pipe. I think Bob and Doug have done all the engineering work. I think it's gonna work out fine. With that, any other discussion? Being no discussion, all those in favor, vote by the use of sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
Beautification projects, actually, a few things on this. The guys that are replacing the pieces of sidewalk, Bobby, would you let them know that, in our opinion, they're doing a heck of a nice job. It looks nice, what they've done. It's gonna probably look better than the original sidewalk. We may have to rip out the old stuff and put that in after we're done. Looks pretty good. I do have a question, though, and I mentioned it to George, and where they've screwed in those supports for the light poles, it seems as though some are further away from the curb than others. I know, you and I talked about it.
He went and measured it.
I know he did, and there is a difference in the distance on some of them. And I'm afraid once we get the poles in there and they light up at night, it's gonna look like this going down the street. But, you know, just have them take a look, would you?
Well, we looked at it, and John, what you gotta do is, when you see going down at the bottom and look up this way because it's basically the same thing. What's happened, after you go by the Saxony, if you look at the medium, is narrow,
I understand that.
okay? And then, but you gotta look at the way the road goes off, it goes like this. And that, if you look at this road bed here, you know, they're not that far off the curving. And if you look at the light poles that are up there, they're actually a lot straighter than the poles that are in there right now. I don't think that you're going to get that type of effect because of the spacing. The spacing on them lights is the same as that's down here, and that's because of the state. That's not because the village wanted that many lights. That's because we had to light that roadway from the Saxony back at somebody candle power.
That's not what I'm talking about, though. It's
Yeah.
that some of them seem to be set
Yeah.
further from the curb.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but if you look at these are the same way. If you look at them, I know, it does, but I don't think that they're out that far out of whack
Oh,
myself.
all right, okay, I just know.
I mean,
we'd
you know,
have
we
to-
could, sometime, actually, if you want, sometime we can walk it, John, when you're after school. We can walk right there, just, you know, it's a 5-minute walk up and a 5-minute walk back.
All right, let's continue.
It's gonna look a lot better when it's graded than it does right now.
No
It looks
question.
terrible right now.
And we're gonna live with them a long time, we just want to
Yeah,
make sure.
oh,
that's
no,
right.
no, and I'm glad that you have some concerns about it, because we want it to look good too, you know? I don't want somebody to come down and say, well, you guys did a terrible job putting the bases and stuff, and I've been keeping an eye, and I don't think they're that far out of whack myself.
Okay.
George measured them, you know, and they're not, there's only one, and that's on the higher medium, way up on the other end. That is in farther because of the medium.
On the other side of Swiss Street, you're talking about.
No, we don't own on the other side of Smith Street, on this side. Anything on the other side of Smith Street.
Just this side of it?
Yeah, just this side of it is our right.
Okay, well, okay.
Anything on the other side that belongs to gas.
Note it, because I come back grumbling about it.
Yeah, no,
I want it on record.
no, and that's fine, but, you know, let's look at it. And if we'll walk it, if there's something you don't like, you want to move it, now's the time to do it.
Well, that's it,
Not
before,
cold yet.
before it gets done. Okay, thanks, Bob. I got a letter from a concerned citizen, positive letter the other day, about what the village looks like. And some of the things are looking a little bit on the shabby side in terms of the sidewalks, you know, the downtown having sunk a little bit with some grass and things like that. And the interest wasn't necessarily as a complaint, more of as a suggestion to let's get doing some things about it if we can. There's a tree growing in the shrubbery in front of the library, and this and that, the other thing, too, things like that. I can share this with whoever wants it. It's a little late to get a lot of this done now for this year, but certainly next year, especially if Mike can be full-time on that kind of thing, probably more can get done.
John, most likely, you know, on the downtown sidewalk,
Yes.
you know, unless you rip them out and put cement in, you're always gonna have a roll, you know, you're gonna walk the roll, I can guarantee you that. Those paving blocks are not good for a downtown area where you got cars going across the drive, you got snowplows going down that sidewalk in the summertime, and they're gonna be like this. And I don't care who you get to come in here and take them out and reset them. The next year, they're gonna be exactly the same as what you got right now. Those are the worst things in the world, is pavers.
They are a challenge.
And the only way that you're ever gonna do anything in there, and I wanted to do it from the beginning, was throw them away and cement it from one end to the other. And then you got a sidewalk in there, but, you know,
Problem is, it's not a good sidewalk for this part of the country.
no, it's not. It was a bad choice for downtown, it really was. I mean, it looks nice, it was nice the first year, but after the frost gets into them, you get, and then we had a couple leaks down there, John, and we had to dig through that stuff in the wintertime and put it back in the spring.
And it just-
You know how it is.
Exactly.
It's not like cement where you can support it, you know, you put a little wire in it and it'll hang in there. I think, you know, this year's budget's coming up, you know.
Well, maybe that's something we can talk about.
I've already checked in it, you're looking at 15,000 to redo them, you know? And then, you know, if you're gonna put $15,000 in them, I mean, you can have them take a look, you might as well pull them up, put cement in.
Well, yeah, we could put concrete in, and you know, what we could do, since the village crew is so good at doing its own sidewalks, we could invest in some of these patterns, you see, where you place the concrete, and then you get like a brick pattern. You get a little dye, you can change your concrete from white to red, or, really? I've
You're
got a
creative
sidewalk,
here now.
I've got a sidewalk at home that we did, and we had a pattern, and it looks like a cobblestone sidewalk, but it's concrete. And so if we wanted the brick, or if we wanted cobblestone, so we could get this pattern, and with a little practice strip, we could teach the guys how to do it, and you could make architectural sidewalks.
I mean, you know,
If you like the brick, we can do it with concrete. And we'll get the effects Bobby's talking about, but we'll get the aesthetics that people might want.
Well, I think that's something we could look at this winter when we're getting ready for next spring project.
you know, and you talk about your beautification, John, and I'm kind of glad that you're back on it, where we get a little more of this, because I take a lot of pride in a lot of the Canadian people that come up here in the summertime, walking downtown, you know, on Friday, when they don't find broken beer bottles and all kinds of stuff. And they always say, well, geez, it always looks nice, we come on the weekend, there's no papers, there's no bottles. I think it would be nice to see something done down in that area and cleaned up. But also, on the other hand, you know, as every summer comes and these projects keep coming bigger and bigger to us, and I had talked to George about this before, we need to get another man on board to be able to take care of this stuff during the summertime. I can't put my big sweeper on the sidewalk. You know, and then when you load me up with jobs like we got coming for the next 3 years, I don't have the manpower to put down there.
Well, I think that's something we have to look at.
You know, and that's something that you guys are gonna have to look at. It's just a man that I can take other than what Mike's got. And then in the fall of the year, if I need him with Bob or something, like right now, where, you know, actually we could use 2 more guys right now, you know, to get caught up with. But, you know, you got a lot of projects. You gotta remember, for next summer, you got the rest of your 9B and 11 underground electric, okay? And that's gonna take most of my crews, you know, to do that up. You got a $2.5 million project coming up in the substation, and that's a full summer of just cement work and foundations and stuff, you know? And that means I gotta take Bob in there, and I need to have somebody with Bob in there, you know?
Right.
So that you guys have got, you've got some major projects coming up, not excluding what Doug's gonna be bringing on us with the new tank, cutting up Maple Street, cutting up Liberty Street. You know, I mean, these guys go up through, yes, you're gonna hire contractors, but they break things that they can't fix. Guess who fixes them? Because they don't have the immediate stuff, so we end up doing them,
Right.
you know? So that, you know, those are the things to think about.
And I also think that there's a possibility we can get some citizens, residents to help us with some of these things. We used to be a larger group, but this year, actually an awful lot of it was done by 2 people. And they did a lot of the flower planting. For some of the heavier stuff, there were other people that probably would be willing to help if only they were asked. But I think we can do some of that. Also, another thing that was mentioned, and I know that we've brought this around and around and around for years, is, and matter of fact, you planned one 3 or 4 years ago, behind the fountain in the park, you had a Christmas tree donated, you planted it there, but to actually get something in there and maybe get it in professionally, so that someday we're gonna, you know, when you and I are older and retired, it'll be big enough to light.
Yeah, we have talked about that, we just never have gotten around to doing it, but I guess we have talked about a permanent tree. But the problem why we haven't done anything in the last couple of years is because of the ice storm and trying to bring back what we
Other
had.
things to do, right.
And, you know,
Well, that's one of the things that was suggested, was also something that I think would be, good. And also, those timbers that we used around the flagpole at the library and around the fountain and around the thing in front,
yeah.
they're getting grim. We probably should look into replacing them with some of that paving rock that, you know, looks like rock, but I think it's really cement, isn't it, Doug? With a rock-looking surface on it. And I asked Bev to check in to see how much money there is laying around, because maybe some of that could be started this fall.
There is money laying around, isn't there?
No. Beautification. I went right down the beautification.
That
I
budget's
gave you a
pretty much-
copy of the budget.
What happened to the money we didn't spend on trees?
We didn't budget any. Because we were gonna get the trees that we wanted through the tree program. There's not a lot laying around.
We were gonna get the trees from Power Authority.
Yeah.
And then
But there's a cost to that.
Yeah, but we didn't budget very much because we hardly had anybody that wanted trees. And so we had cut that, like, about
I thought it was
75%.
Wasn't it $1,000?
I don't know which everything. So, but everything else, you know, we have $400 left to buy our flowers in the spring, and that's it.
$400 doesn't go along with this.
No,
More.
because that's fertilizer, mulch, everything.
Okay, well, these are some things we can look at for next year. If there is anything left, maybe we can get something started this. No, I got that pot boiling. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, back to Trustee Moore on the library steps, the proposal.
I'd like to make a motion to accept it.
Second.
I have a motion made second. Any discussion?
Discussion, Is this contractor bonded, Doug? You know,
I'll check that out.
it's a subcontract, right?
Well, actually, the Duquette Brothers is just turning us right over now. And so we can request a bond, and request insurance, and we can do all that.
I think
Before we,
I think we should. That's a project that's
well,
been run for
we
some
should
time.
do that. And I've worked with around Debo before, and so they're reputable and have all of those requirements met, but I'll get them met for us.
So he's been around a long
We named
time,
this
I
assured.
just question the bonding thing, so.
Good question. Any other discussion? No discussion, no other discussion, all those in favor, vote by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Bev?
No, I don't have any.
Arson?
We had $600 budgeted for shade trees.
600 for shade trees.
That won't buy a tree.
I'm gonna buy a tree.
We already looked into that, and that was $1,000, and it was not recommended by the arborist, and I'll talk to you about that after.
For a
You'll buy
big,
some timber,
big
so.
tree? Oh, yeah, you're not gonna get a big one for $1,000.
No. Okay, it has to come from the city. He said that it has to come in a saucer, and, you know, he said you're talking quite a bit of money.
Oh, yes.
Arson?
That's it.
Bobby? Bobby? How about Doug? That's fine. With that, I'll open the meeting up to the public again. Dawn, you want to address the board, please?
First of all, I'm sorry I was so late, really, I didn't do it on purpose. I want to thank you for this beautiful gift to the historians, our work. Ellie and of course, and Joyce take a great deal of credit for this. In our meeting, the historians meeting in Saranac, they asked the historians to pick out a building in their community that had never been researched and to look into it. So we did, and the girls suggested Pat O'Connor's liquor store on the main street. It's very prominent and so forth. Turns out that liquor store was built by my grandfather, so I know quite a bit about it. And he built it in 1860. It was a livery stable in this time. He was noted for his ability to match horses and was very, very prominent in the community. Matching horses the same size, same color, and so forth, and all that. I got all these news from Jules Trayan's father. Told me all the time about him, because I never knew much about him, because I was in school a lot downstate, and I didn't come home. And Grandpa was very old by the time I settled at home, and he didn't talk much about anything then, but that's how I know about him. After that, the room, the place was built was used as a, after the livery stable, his son Arthur took over, and then he began to sell cars. The cars were invented then, of course, and then they began in the car business. And then after that settled down, and Arthur and the rest of the family started a bowling alley. And Harold Taylor and his wife continued the bowling alley for a long time in that building. And a man named Don Allen, he continued the bowling alley and called it Phase 3. The last owner, and probably owned it before all that time, was Victor West, and he still owns it. Mr. West owns it. And that's the history of that building at that time. I wanted you to know. It's certainly a beautiful plaque that you've given us.
I sent it to the historian. I got to hold it for a while.
It's really very, very nice. You certainly appreciate everything anyone does in this village, historians or any other people that work. Are there any questions? We have pictures more pictures of the early Rouses Point at any time. You're welcome to come to the village office and see them. Thank you.
I'd like to thank you people for your work, because it is rewarding to be able to go up there and look at a lot of this old stuff. With that, I'm ready for adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made second, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Adjourned 10 minutes to 8.